wild.
Email. Hi, Mark. This is actually Beverly. Big Mike had to plunge the toilet. It didn't go well. Then he had to duck down to the store to get roach motels. I just said, why don't you have him waterboard you next year? His favorite phrase was, I don't understand what that means. Okay, so I don't understand what that means. I said, it's your turn to pay the electric bill.
Huh.
Oh, this is like the way that people bitch on Facebook. Yeah, go ahead.
I had to get a second mortgage just to fill up my lawnmower, and it's a push mower at that.
That's great. 6 people in my office, and planning how we're going to get to a restaurant down the street is more planning than the Russian invasion of Manchuria. Jumping Jehoshaphat, the price of healthcare is through the roof. I've been watching the home hip replacement channel nonstop.
This is the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.
Episode 17 of season 3. Wow.
Coming
Just plowing on through.
This will be our last episode for rock and roll this year.
Absolutely. And I've decided that sometimes you just have to be the cat mom.
We will have one more show for the Decay Extreme Music, and that will be a wrap on this year. Is that crazy?
Well, yeah. It's been a good one. Lots of good music. Yeah. Oh, this week's sponsor is Your Despicable Soda. It's very refreshing for the palate.
Kind of, it'll make sense later, trust me.
Probably not. Probably not. Well, there's not many things that my wife and I disagree on, but she doesn't think I load the dishwasher very well.
Well, I don't actually say anything. I just constantly go behind you.
See, to me, if all the dirty dishes fit in there, it's mission accomplished. But it's always, no, don't hit the start button yet. I'm like, we don't have any more dishes to wash. No matter how carefully I try to arrange the plates, Stace will go behind me and rearrange it like it's some round of dishwasher machine Tetris or something to show, look at this extra cubic foot that I found. I mean, she's so good at it, I offered to go get some pots and pans from our next door neighbor to wash, I guess, because we have this extra capacity.
Maybe we could put Annabelle Lee in there too.
Squeeze in the hamster and, some pets for a quick rinse. Yeah. But I mean, we do need to maximize space these days. I mean, I understand that. You ever pack for the family vacation?
Oh, I hated it. I was horrible at it. I was a single mom, and women, I swear, are not as good at spatial relations as men. We're just not.
You need to solve some geometric proofs and maybe throw in a little trig to figure out how to configuration that will fit the beach umbrellas, deck chairs, ice coolers, suitcases into the Mazda. I don't know. I'm okay at it. I mean,
I was horrible at it. In fact, usually what would happen is I would be in tears the night before trying to jam everything into the trunk, because with all of us, it was a lot of chairs and umbrellas and
sort of like what you see behind us.
Yeah. Suitcases and coolers, because we always got the place with the kitchen. So I'd want to bring all the essentials. And he would come out and do like I do to you with the dishwasher. He would rearrange it and make it fit.
Yep.
But oh my God, the stuff we had to end up putting around the kids in the back seat. It's like most often Craig couldn't put his feet down because there was a cooler there.
Yeah. Oh, I remember the trips of not being able to put my feet down. Yeah.
Or they would, we'd always go to the places, you had to bring your own sheets and pillows. And
we got the kids when the kids were little. We got them little mini suitcases. They were so excited they could pack their own stuff for the trip. So it was cute and all, except my daughter I went and opened up her suitcase to see what she was ready to bring for the week trip at the beach. And it was her Hannah Montana action figure and 2 packs of Scooby-Doo fruit snacks. Apparently she didn't think she needed much. So that wasn't going to work.
At that age, you just don't think. I remember I was about 10 and I got mad at my parents because I considered throwing everything on, that was on the floor just into my closet equaled cleaning my room. And they disagreed with my methodology. So I was crying and I was leaving and I packed a bag, with a jar of peanut butter and 1 change of clothes and a stuffed animal. And clearly I had thought this through. And I think I made it to the end of the street before I realized I didn't bring jelly or bread or a knife. And I decided I was just not cut out for life on the streets.
Yeah. Speaking of packing up, how about packing up junk to take it to the dump? That's a pleasure. Yeah. Sort of the same thing. How much can you cram in the car? Now, the dump by us, they are criminals. Not only do they charge $5 per vehicle, on top of the money they make on, they get like 20 refrigerators a day. There's tons of scrap copper in there. I mean, they make out like bandits, right? Um, but the thing is, they have this aversion to wood. So if you have any like old cabinets you want to get rid of or old, lumber that you didn't use or anything like that, they do not want that. And it's so bad that you actually have to pack the car so that the wood you're going to throw in the landfill doesn't show. They have a guy that walks around and looks in the car like you're trying to smuggle immigrants across the border or something. Um, I don't know what the problem is with throwing wood in the landfill,
They
but they
can't
don't
make
want to
any
do
money
it.
off of it. That's what the problem
I
is.
couldn't believe they had an inspector there.
Baltimore County's a little different. You have to show your license to prove you're a Baltimore County resident,
That same thing.
but they don't charge you.
Yeah, charging is just ridiculous.
But they make it like a note of it, like you can only go to the dump so many times. Like who's going to the dump every day?
Hmm.
And then when you get to the top, there's just all these bins, metal here, refrigerants here, and you get to hurl your stuff off the little precipice, to its untimely death.
Yeah, kind of fun.
But actually got yelled at. I had been moving and there was a whole bunch of junk I just didn't want or just wouldn't work or broke. So I just took the moving truck that I rented. And when I got there and tried to show them, yeah, I was a resident, they were all suspicious. I was a commercial dump. I'm by myself. I am 5'2". I'm not going to start a solo career moving furniture
No,
or
it's not like it.
making dump runs. I'm like, forget it.
That reminds me, years ago, I had put these really nice wire rack closet organizers into the kids' closets because, it gave them shelves, it gave them rods where they could hang their clothes. I was really proud of it. It wasn't easy either. I came home one day and my ex-wife had a hacksaw. She's hacksawing through. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And she was like, I can't fit anything in here. I was like, no, you actually have to have a system. Sorry. What a great example to small children. So, um, also, whenever like her parents were coming over or whatever, she loved to stash important things of mine in unknown closets.
Mm.
Like I had a little rack of CDs. She would hide that. It was like some kind of a scavenger hunt to find my shit, right? A little wooden file cabinet that had like the paperwork for our taxes and stuff in it. Oh, I put that in the downstairs closet because my parents were coming over. Because they would think that we were criminals because we had a file cabinet?
How dare you? A file cabinet. What mischief is this?
Never mind, there's fucking dog hair all over the place. We can do anything about that. Anyway, don't get me started. Which brings me to, and we just had this year. You ever have to go to an off-site meeting or dinner from work? 6 people in my office, and planning how we're going to get to a restaurant down the street is more planning than the Russian invasion of Manchuria. Are we all going in Jim's car? He's got that big SUV. But Jim's a smoker. I'm not riding in that thing. Well, Monique has to leave right from the restaurant to pick up the kids, so she can't stay long. Paula wants to ride with Joy and Ruth because she's going to get a couple of drinks. Well, do we all meet at the bar if we get there early, or do we go right to the table? What's the reservation under? Oh, I hope this isn't one of those scan the QR code places, is it? I'm just going to walk over. It's not raining that hard, and I hate looking for a parking spot in the city.
Our office, the staff stalks out the menu weeks in advance, studying it.
These people don't have much going on in their lives.
They know exactly what they want, and they were shocked that I had never taken one look at it before arriving. I figured it's food, and they had their beverage pre-selected down to their appetizers and red circled main dish. Like it was, like you said, a military operation.
Let me just stress that Stacey has a really hard time even just getting through the day with these people. We cannot stand these people. We cannot stand her boss. They are so irritating. They're so wacky. They are acting like children every day. So having to go and sit through a dinner at a Japanese steakhouse with all that shenanigans going on, I just said, why don't you have him waterboard you next year? Because the only reason why she goes is because he writes her Christmas bonus check at the end. Yeah. So the way I got around it was I just kept sending her Bitmojis. Here's some examples of the Bitmojis I kept sending her. Hang in there, babe. Money, money, money. Get the green. Yeah. I
Yeah.
like to think that that was a big help.
Well, talk about getting places. I was actually on the phone when everyone decided to leave for the restaurant, and I'm the only one that doesn't have a car. And they know this because you come to pick me up every day and you walk into the office.
And they were like, fuck you. We're not waiting for you.
So I got off the phone and it was just me and the boss lady there. And she said, "Oh, everyone left you. I guess you're riding with me."
Nice. Okay. Let's talk about our feature interview this week. Go right ahead.
Our feature interview this week is with some bad, bad men. Seriously, the band is out of Omaha, Nebraska, and they are the bad, bad men.
Actually, they're a bunch of sweeties.
It's one of those classic interviews with the entire band, literally just after the rehearsal. We discuss everything from the making of their fantastic self-titled record to sharing the stage with your kids to figuring out Australian time zone. So stay tuned for that.
Okay, let's kick it off. This is from the outstanding 2023 album Bad Bad Men. This is Ransom Note. Okay, let's talk about Patreon. The site is patreon.com/Snaggletooth Podcasts. It is packed with all kinds of bonus content that you can't get anywhere else. More Mark and Stace than you can handle.
Everything from Mark's album reviews from random. They're really random. Some are
This week I'm uploading Blue Rooster Cult's Fire of Unknown Origin. Is it still sound good? Does it hold up? How does it compare to Cultosaurus erectus? You'll just have to head over to Patreon and check it out.
And as always, I am always throwing up my little recipes with my tips and tricks on making simply delicious meals we all gotta eat.
Yeah, we just put up the how to make the awesome bacon jalapeno poppers. Yeah, in the air fryer, which was outstanding.
It's
So
amazing and it's easy and it's so good.
it's so evil and so delicious. So anyway, head over to patreon.com/Snaggletooth Podcasts. For $6.66 a month, you get tons of wacky hijinks that no one else has seen.
Also, while you're at it, don't forget to hit subscribe. That means so much to us. We do reach out to our viewers with polls and questions, and that helps drive the content of this show. So make sure you come say hi on Instagram. We always put up lots of wacky things, as well as TikTok. We started putting up some of our favorite old movie clips.
That's right. Man, check out our TikTok. I put up some clips from, classics like Police Squad and Better Off Dead. So yeah, definitely get over there. A lot of fun stuff going on. Yeah. So anyway, this next segment I call it Not Worth the Syllables. So I had a lot of college roommates, came and went, back in the day. We used to hang out and go to bars together and stuff. This one guy, Mario, he was Italian, drop dead gorgeous, and super gay, right? He actually had this t-shirt. Now, keep in mind, this was the early 90s. It said, "Nobody knows I'm gay" on it. I thought that was pretty cool, right? We used to enjoy each other's company, but he was such a snob and he would get in a shit mood and then he would shift into what I call one syllable mode.
Or at least one word mode.
Well, one word, one syllable. Are we going to the crease after this? What the fuck does that mean? It was cool to see Tom again, Please. It wasn't cool to see Tom again? Nicole is going to come over tonight around 7, okay? Honey. Oh, I got 2 syllables out of that one. I still don't know what the hell you're saying, but of course there were times that I liked one syllable mode because I didn't get the shitty editorial that followed it. Hey, I like this jacket. Huh. Sweetie, you look like you just slept in the bus station. Thanks. Actually, Mary used to get pissed at me because I did a really good impression of him. And I could really get the guys going. His his favorite phrase was, "I don't understand what that means." Okay, so I don't understand what that means. I said, it's your turn to pay the electric bill. Tricky stuff, Chief, right? Yeah, anyway. Yeah.
I had a college roommate and she was, I was basically an only child growing up. My sister's 10 years older. So, I mean, my mom and I, we just shared everything.
Yeah.
We would use each other's hair curlers. We would use each other's deodorant. It didn't care, nobody,
We sit on the toilet together.
not like that. But, I just,
Scooch over.
I was not used to someone. Like one day I was in a hurry and I couldn't find my hairbrush, so I just used hers.
Oh, some women really don't like that. Yeah.
Well, instead of saying something to me, she would just put the tiniest little sticky note on her hairbrush that said, "Please don't use my hairbrush."
Oh, it was a sticky note system.
Yeah, it was a sticky note system.
Gotcha.
And I borrowed one of her encyclopedias, and the next day she must have realized something was shifted. Please don't use my encyclopedias. I was like,
Wow. Wow.
okay, I got it.
Must have spent a lot of money on sticky notes. We are all out of animal crackers. Okay, so this week we have a new Bastard song for you guys, and it's one that I'm really proud of. It's about my fear of the lottery.
And it was also inspired by Bad Ben's Messed Up, so it's
That's right.
definitely appropriate. It was on this episode.
Yep, so check it out. This is Mark and Stace original. It's called Lottophobia. Well, I'm not afraid of thunderstorms, or spiders, or needles, or snakes. Confined spaces don't cramp my style. I don't even mind earthquakes. But lottery scratch-offs got me terrified. It's the reason that I wrote this song. I don't see how I'll ever strike it rich, 'cause I'm so afraid I'll get it wrong. Should I go triple eights or blizzard bucks, triple threes or instant cash? Do I go multi-match or try that Powerball? I think I'm getting a rash, 'cause lottery scratch-offs give me panic attacks. It's the reason that I wrote this song. I don't see how I'll ever strike it rich, 'cause I'm too afraid I'll get it wrong. The lottery kiosk in the gas station may as well be a time machine. Front pair, back pair, mid-eve or both, I'm gonna need more caffeine. 'Cause lottery scratch-offs make me paranoid. It's the reason I wrote this song. I don't see how I'll ever strike it rich, 'cause I'm too afraid I'll get it wrong.
Instant 200, instant 100, instant 150. Reveal 3 identical symbols in any instant play win the corresponding prize.
That's the thing about people that compulsively scratch tickets, is that we're not thinking about odds.
Don't suppose I'll ever figure it out. And I know this is a cliche, but there must be a less complicated system to throw your money away. 'Cause lottery scratch-offs make me paranoid. It's the reason I wrote this song. I don't see how I'll ever strike it rich, 'cause I'm too afraid I'll get it wrong. Yeah, I'll get it wrong.
How the hell does keto work?
Strike it rich my ass. That was a lot of fun to do.
Oh my
It was fun. And I thought it was great. Like when you go into the gas station that I mentioned in the song, it's like they have all the, snacks you can buy and ATMs and off in the corner, there's like this little area with the time machine and a little wastebasket next to it for you to just throw your tickets that didn't do shit. And it's like, it's kind of segregated from the rest of the gas stations. It's like, here, this corner's for crazy people. Mm.
I'm always fascinated when they have the fake horse racing that you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
bet on in the liquor store, and they actually have a few tables in the corner, and there's always some guy sitting there cheering on fake horses that he's bet on, and he's making a day of it.
Yeah, yeah. Give me Diamond Deuce Mama in the third. Yeah, absolutely.
That's where he is.
The trifecta.
Corner of the liquor store.
Yeah. So anyway, in my job, I work with a lot of small backwoodsy kind of companies. Without getting into details, it's just the way that our products are, we kind of need this. We're a corporate corporation, but we don't need corporate vendors. So these places are very interesting. So, I mean, you've been to a bunch of them. Never mind the paneling, chain smoking and landlines. Never mind the closet break room or single shared bathroom with a cruddy sink and a crappy bar soap in it. This is commonly what they have.
Yeah, my favorite was the old water cooler that had the paper triangles
From
for
1972,
drinking out of
yeah,
a
yeah.
napkin, basically.
So that's all fine. But the one thing that I can never understand is that they share email addresses. So I don't know what they're looking to gain in terms of data for this. I personally just, Mark, over the years, I have 3 email addresses that I just backed into. And it has nothing to do with the show or anything. That's more. But I have like 2 Gmails and 1 Yahoo, and I never delete anything. And it's not like I ever run out of space. So, and when you put up a website of any kind, the hosting company will just throw a ton of email addresses at you. You can get up to 25 email addresses. Just pay your monthly fee. So I don't understand what sort of cost savings these people think they're generating by logging into Big Mike's Hotmail account.
Wild.
Email. Hi, Mark. This is actually Beverly. Big Mike had to plunge the toilet. It didn't go well. Then he had to duck down to the store to get roach motels. Yes.
Talk about TMI. Sorry, we're all closed today. We all got food poisoning at Tina's Diner from the Muskrat Special. Call back on Monday.
That's what we're dealing with. Hey, Mark, this is actually Tommy. There was some kind of mole that they couldn't identify on little Mike's arm. Figured we'd take him up to see Elmer and have him take a look. Doris is out trying to start the weed whacker with a tree stump. It's mass chaos over here. Yeah.
Yeah, the price of gas is so high.
Oh, this is like the way that people bitch on Facebook. Yeah, go ahead.
I had to get a second mortgage just to fill up my lawnmower, and it's a push mower at that.
That's great.
Honestly considering that just getting a few goats would be cheaper.
Absolutely. The price of eggs has gotten so out of whack. My family's been drinking hognog for Christmas. Why in the hell is the chicken cheaper than the goddamn eggs?
Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Think about it.
Hognog. It's going to be huge.
And what is going on at the USDA? I ordered a steak for lunch and it was so expensive. They held onto my car keys until I paid for the meal. I ordered a
Don't run
crab
away with
cake.
that.
They kept my baby until I settled up at market price.
We need collateral. This food's expensive. Jumping Jehoshaphat, the price of healthcare is through the roof. I've been watching the home hip replacement channel nonstop. My wife needs money for her vittles. I heard you can save a few bucks with the do-it-yourself colonoscopy kit by Ronco as well. Fun at family game night.
Yeah, I bet that's a blasty blast.
All right, let's play another song. Go ahead.
We are back to Bad Bad Men. This is Throw You Away.
Okay, let's talk about Home Chef.
Home Chef is our favorite meal delivery service, and as we recently discovered, they have a lot of different tiers now. You have the traditional one that I like, where you get the recipe card and all the ingredients and you chop and cook.
Yeah.
If you're a busy mom with kids and 900 practices, like I remember mine is,
Mine too.
they have express meals. I prepared one for us today. I had to cook the chicken, but it does come with cooked chicken if you prefer. And it was prepared entirely in the microwave.
Or like also if you just live if you live in an apartment
Yeah.
and you don't have like a big full kitchen where you can cook a turkey dinner or something like that. Makes sense.
Food, like you cooked the little
Delicious.
potatoes until you mashed it up. And
We
then
lost our dog.
and then you
Out.
added,
Peace out, bitches.
and then you added the rice and fresh spinach. So it's less expensive than takeout and much better for you. And it really didn't take long at all. And it's wonderfully sauced. Or if you prefer, and you're really in a pinch, maybe this time of year, they have fully prepared meals you can just pop into your oven. So you can even mix it up, order some of each. They have desserts now, little teeny tiny pies, which would just be
We
good
got a
for
bonus
Wendy.
pie this week.
Yeah.
What kind of pie was it?
Raspberry blueberry.
They're just
Oh.
like, they never order desserts. they're all pie in there. Maybe we'll get them hooked.
Yeah, so, you can make your choices. They have so many choices to pick from. So use our link. It will save you $20 off your first order and skip the craziness at the food store. It comes right to your door. Everything you need.
Is no bags.
Oh,
Ah,
oh.
collectorbation time. Ah, this is a fun one. We're going to talk about Frank Zappa's 1974 masterpiece, Apostrophe. Now, forget prog rock. Frank Zappa is really a one-man genre. Even so, the level of musicianship on this Frank Zappa ensemble buries most cape-wearing 70s proggers, a tantalizing prospect to be sure. Any Zappa album of this time period serves up generous portions of impossible odd-meter percussion, witty lyrical absurdity, ludicrous speeding keyboard and saxophone scribbling, and compositions that swerve in and out of sophisticated jazz and bluesy rock and roll. Even so, Apostrophe is something special.
There's an abundance of Frank's aggressive, fuming, smokestack guitar solos on the record, especially during Cosmic Debris, which includes uncredited backing vocals from Tina Turner and the Ikettes. The smoking title track, essentially a jam with Jack Bruce, and the guitars from Mars' lead tone of Stinkfoot. There's a particularly gritty vibe to Frank's vocals throughout the record, and the staggering talents of George Duke, Ian Underwood, and Jean-Luc Ponty contribute stellar performances without overplaying their respective hands. Apostrophe is a perfect place to start your exploration of Zappa University.
Okay, let's play a song. This is Nanook Rubs It. Okay, continuing on with our discussion of Frank Zappa. But first, let me just say a couple things. The song you just heard, Nanook Rubs It, I used to sing it to the kids just to irritate them while we were waiting for the bus to come on a regular basis. I loved it. They did not. It was great. Got me just about as angry as an Eskimo boy could be. So I pounced. And I pounced again. Hey, googly moogly. Yeah, every word. Kids were like, Dad, come on, do we have to hear the Baby Steel song again? Well, the fur trapper was very upset. And rightly so. Anyway, so there's one story. Also, Stace mentioned that the Ikettes make an uncredited appearance on the album, and they also are on Overnight Sensation. In his book, he talks about how Ike Turner was such a sleazebag. He would not talk about money in front of the girls. So he privately met with Zappa, got paid, and then God knows what he actually gave the girls for doing the actual work. What a jackass. Anyway.
Yeah, steak dinner and a blow pup.
Oh, there you go. So anyway, the band is ludicrously tight and jazzy, disciples of Frank's unashamed musical voyeurism. Their virtuosity lighting a fire under ridiculous material while adding plenty of razzle-dazzle to the performances. Zappa is poised and witty throughout this entire record. It's a marvelously relaxed display, always in full command of the hottest of hot bands. I also recommend from this time period, Roxy and Elsewhere, which I do not, I only have it on CD. I don't have it on vinyl, but it's a fantastic record. He also had, when they played live, Zappa had not only, he had these hand gestures, which would tell him to play the music, but you play it with like a country vibe or play it with a reggae vibe. But it was crazy.
Hand signal for country, putting on a.
He had a hand signal. I used to have a picture of it in an old guitar magazine with him and the band behind him. His signal for everybody to play their highest note was this. And it's just a picture of him on stage with this, and there's all these people out in the crowd. Yeah, he's basically like he's flipping the bird to the entire audience. Yeah.
I was very happy to find him in the bathroom of Purdy and Books.
That's
down in
right.
Baltimore.
The infamous toilet picture, yeah. So.
I have it on my phone somewhere.
So let me just say, my python boot is too tight. I couldn't get it off last night. A week went by, and now it's July. I nearly got it off, and my girlfriend cried, "You've got Stinkfoot." Let's play Stinkfoot. What a zany episode this has been so far, I must say. I'm riveted. The tension is terrible. I hope it'll last. So I want to introduce the interview.
This is our interview with three bad men.
Yeah, actually,
this is John, Jerry, and Chris.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, we talk about everything. There's some deep dives. We actually do talk about Messed Up, which is a great album. If you haven't heard it,
No.
What are you waiting for? Get over to Spotify. It's right there.
Get your little pad and pen out because they're going to rattle off some fantastic bands from Omaha that you've never heard of. So take a note and live and be well.
When he first played me your guys' stuff, I went, oh, they're from the UK. Oh, definitely. Definitely. Punk purist. They're from the UK. Wrong.
No, we're just three old dudes in Nebraska.
I was surprised to hear. Yeah. So where did you guys pick the name Bad Bad Men? Where did that come from?
To be perfectly honest, we had our song "Bad Bad Man,"
Okay.
which
That's a great
was
song.
like one of the first things we were fucking around with as a song. And then lo and behold, we're working together. I don't know, whatever, rehearsing and stuff, and somebody asked us to play, and we're like, shit, we have to have a name. And this was just when fucking there's always a lot of bad men out there, but this is when things were kind of felt like gonna peak. It was like, I remember before COVID and fucking election shit and all,
No, there were a lot of bad men in that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and no shit, and all around everything, and so it was just kind of tongue in cheek for us, and so we wrote it out. We had it at our first gig, and it stuck ever since.
That's great. Yeah.
Like the bad part is when they Google it, it comes up with some B-list movie called that. I was like, no, that's not it.
Yeah. At least there's somewhat of a presence. Before our album came out, shit, I don't think there was any, very little out there. So
I think you might be the first band that we that I guess that created a record because they were playing shows with their kids' bands. Is that right? Did I read that somewhere?
Yeah. I mean, there's somewhat there. I mean, my all of our kids are musicians in some fashion, and so my kids, I don't know, I think that's probably one thing that's probably kept us playing, is having kids that, at least for me, got into music, man. It did reinvigorate me. I was still continually playing, but seeing them, and yeah, we've played with my kids have a band called Pagan Athletes, and they're in another band called Cat Piss. We've done shows with them, but
that's cool. Yeah.
So it's
I've never heard of that. That's great. Yeah.
Jerry here, he's got I'm gonna speak for him for a second, but he's got a nephews in another great band, Nowhere, that, I mean, they'll rip like 13 songs out in like 11 minutes or less, and that's their set, but they're a freaking great band too. So it's pretty cool. There's a lot of good music in Omaha happening right now, and not even related to, I would say, any of our relatives. Outside of that, there's some great bands as well.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff happening.
Yeah, it reminded me of like when we talk with Rob Lamosse, because a lot of his kids, I think all his kids are in music, and but they'll play in bands together. And sometimes, have you ever done that where you had to like sub in for your kids' band because the drummer was sick? Or
Not quite, but my son Griffin plays keyboards on the album. He plays a little bit of keyboards on 3 of the tracks: Good for Nothing, Messed Up, and Ransom Note. Just little parts we had him play, so that was cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's good if you can keep it together. I was surprised he had Xander on drums on his latest venture, but they're always back and forth. So that's always a good thing to have, because if you're ever in a pinch and you need a musician, there's one right there.
Right.
Oh yeah, I have a kind of built-in drummer, my kid, who helps me sometimes like lay out some shit once in a while. So it's fun.
That's awesome. So did any of you have like a professional trained background, or were you self-taught?
I'm self-taught.
Self-taught.
I took lessons for a couple of years when I was a kid.
That's probably all you need to get going. Do any of you
I had a
currently
few. Go ahead. Sorry.
do any of you currently teach?
Nope.
No.
Good God, nobody would want to learn
No.
from me. They'd be like,
No.
"Wait, what the hell are you doing?" Any
Maybe
sense?
go back to my kids. My son, who's a drummer, he does teach. He's like, yeah. So
Gotcha.
That was the DIY scene back in the mid '80s, early '80s in Omaha, there wasn't a lot of professional musicians around. We just, bands just popped up everywhere, and we were kind of the stopping ground between Denver and Chicago for bands that needed a place to, make $50 in gas. And
Yeah.
John booked a lot of bands in Nirvana, Soundgarden, all that stuff back in the day. So it was a vital scene. If a band was playing in Omaha, there were a couple hundred people there easily every time they played, which is a music scene, which is crazy because nobody thinks that about Omaha, but it was quite a time, and everybody just had bands. It was fun.
Well,
Yeah,
I wish
so,
I
no,
I wish
when
I
I-
recognized I wish I had recognized the Cellophane Ceiling, but I had never heard anything by him. Or
Yeah.
the Men of Porn. There's a link there I read somewhere. Like, who was in that
Yeah.
band?
So that was actually the first time that Jerry and I played together. So a friend of ours, Tim Moss, used to be in Ritual Device with Jerry and I. And so him, Jerry, myself, and another gentleman named Jeff Heater got together and did stuff, just, barely play, did a few kind of gigs that needed to be played from a previous band, but and then did some recorded in the studio and
Some studio. We did South by Southwest in 90 or 91,
somewhere in there, maybe a little bit later. I think a little bit later, but yeah,
93, something like that.
yeah. But so porn. So that was the first time we played together. Yeah,
Hmm. I mean,
that was a
was it
blast.
those were different style bands though, right? They weren't playing the style of music that Bad Men play, were they? Or was it more like
That was Tim doing Tim had a lot of stuff that he just wrote and needed people to back him up on, and I think
I helped write some of it, but it was more a little bit heavier, definitely, like it's a little more like Sabbath with some noise in it. I don't know.
Gotcha. Okay.
But we all kind of come out of that vein to the old classic rock vein. So
Right.
You
Classic
can
rock,
hear
punk rock.
that influence too. You
Yeah.
know, even though it's solidly punk, every now and then you throw in like a little like the beginning of the drums at the beginning of Flag Day. It's like almost jazz.
that's this guy. That's Chris. Chris doesn't like to talk too much, but Chris
No.
is an incredible drummer.
That beat is so intricate to that song, because that's weird, because that song was written kind of, the kind of the riff kind of just keeps going. It's like a John Lee Hooker blues riff, but didn't want blues drums, and that what he came up with was just miraculous for the song.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
What I like about it, and it's a difficult thing to explain, but you guys have this sort of, I call it a riff economy. And it's like the same way the Dead Boys had, the same way the Sex Pistols had, where the song is so good, but when you take it apart, you're like, oh my God, it's 3 chords. That's it. The chorus is just the same 3 chords backwards, but
Yeah.
we get so much mileage out of that's why we used to always call it chord economy,
Yeah, it is. It's funny.
Which makes it really easy for me, because I can just sit in the background and carry it, and John just will do these crazy like key changes on the guitar. I'm watching his hands and I'm like, I can't even bend my fingers that way, but he's picking up all those notes, and unless you really listen to it, you don't get it, but
Yeah.
it makes it really fun.
Yeah, it's keeping things somewhat simple, but fucking it up enough to make it enjoyable for us. I mean, some of the things that we put together, there's some weird number changes and some things that keep us on our toes when we play, which makes it fun, and so.
Understood.
Yeah, I really love the guitar work and Throw You Away at the beginning, where it's like almost Shag's level discord and wow. And then it's like
I love it. That's
My wife is gonna
it's
love
a
that.
it's a drone chord. There's a drone note in there, and that's why. Yeah. Nice.
Mm.
See, that's the shit I like. Something just a little off kilter. What the hell?
Yeah.
throw a little feedback squall in there. It's fine.
Yeah. I guess my my favorite example of that, the one I always go to, is the guitar solo that Robert Quine does in Blank Generation, where somehow he hits none of the right notes, but he does it with such attitude that just there's nothing like it. You can't play it. Like it can't be
It's pure imagination, and
yeah.
John's
I
not
think
going horn, but he has a lot of that.
I think Greg Ginn would be next, like everything he did, where it was like, oh my God, what is he playing? Like some kind of Mongolian jazz scale or something? What is that?
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the best. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
So the inspiration for your songs, are any of them based on an actual story? And if so, would you have to kill us?
To tell us, right? Yeah.
Some, there's no doubt there's, it's character, right? And sometimes it's based on something that's happened to me. Sometimes it's something that's happened maybe to somebody else, and sometimes it's just pure bullshit made up. Just telling a story. Not, I don't want to say bullshit, but just coming up with a theme in your head. But it's all the above. It's it's weird how songs come to you, and lyrics and that stuff, a theme. And sometimes, like now I think about it, sometimes it's different than what I originally intended. It morphed, or like the meaning morphed because it meant something at that time. But as we got in, and that was part of it actually in the studio, when we got in recording the songs, felt like there was somewhat of a theme, how these songs kind of work together. And so it felt like kind of telling a little story. And as I listened to lyrics, I was like, okay, there's a kind of a theme here, So
Did it come together pretty quick in the studio? It sounds like it did. It sounds like you just kind of ripped right through the songs.
It did. We worked with a guy named Adam Roberts. I mean, we kind of went in. I mean, we worked on obviously enough songs for an album, but went in thinking, okay, if we can get 5 or 6 down, we'll kind of be happy. But once we met Adam, the guy who's the engineer, he came to our rehearsal. We started feeling, okay, this guy at least gets us, I think. And then when we got in the studio, he totally got us. We felt, at least for me, is like the most comfortable recording session I've had. Maybe it's maturity, but
He's a good leader. He kept us on track. We would be going back and forth about, oh, this doesn't sound good, this doesn't sound right. And out of nowhere, over the speakers we'd hear, or over our headphones we'd hear, it sounds fine, next song, coming from him.
I can
So we
fix
move
it.
on.
I can fix it.
Yeah.
or he would tell us, no, that you need
Yeah.
to do it again.
He was great. He was great.
That's a
Good
true
project.
producer. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
production is so good too, because literally you can hear every part equally. The vocals and the guitar are on the same. It's just beautifully crystal clean.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. So Mikey, who mastered it.
So Adam, the gentleman we recorded with here in town, basically he mixed it. I mean, we were there for a little. We gave him full credit, but we were there to say balance this or that. And then we had this gentleman named Mikey Young in Australia master it, who does, if you look around, you'll see his name on all kinds of stuff, and he kind of gets rock and roll that's not too clean, So it was good to have him do it, and it sounds pretty in your face.
And it's actually a really nice studio, and a lot of people have recorded in it that we could, not to name drop, but it's a really nice studio. You'd be surprised in Omaha. It's a very, very nice studio.
It's
very
world-class.
well equipped.
Yeah. Day room for sure.
So,
but very, very, very reasonable,
but very reasonably priced,
in a great location.
Yeah, just blocks from my house.
Yeah.
So that's all that matters.
Oh, that's always a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, what more could you ask for right there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who designed this beautiful we have behind us?
The artwork.
The artwork.
Yeah.
Well,
It's so
we keep it
eye-catching.
all in the family. That's my oldest son, Nathan. To be honest, it's something he did when he was, I'm not even sure how old, but it sat in our fucking basement. Every time I walk by it, I go, that's going to be an album cover someday. And
now it is. Yeah.
It's something he did, and he was like, no way, you're not going to use that. And
That's great.
But we did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So I wanted to ask you, I mean, you guys have been doing this for a long time. So what are some of the good and bad of making music now versus making music back in the 80s and 90s in terms of there had to be some good back then and some that's worse now.
I would say to me, it's easy to say right now, because we're truly kind of just doing it for ourselves. We know we're beyond, we've done all kinds of bands and stuff, and now it's just really about trying to enjoy it. And it's like, if we don't enjoy it, I don't want to do it. And we get along, we have fun. We play enough, but we're not playing a ton, right? We felt like we've played a lot for us as of late.
Too much this year.
But it's easier right now because we don't feel any pressure, and it's just doing it truly, like I said, for ourselves and our enjoyment. And it's been great. The people seem to like it and come along for the ride a little bit.
So back then it was more like label pressure and stuff, or your personal pressure that you put on yourself.
It was personal pressure. It was personal pressure.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't have the internet. It was like you pulled out your atlas in the van. Pulling into Chicago, you drop a dime in a payphone to call the club and say, "Where the fuck are we?" It doesn't happen like that anymore. We tease our kids about it who toured, and just like, "Oh yeah,
it's easy."
Yeah, but easy. This is hard, and you hump your 410 cabinet up 10 flights of stairs to play for 30 minutes, and it's just not like that anymore.
Or if you're playing, talking about pressure, maybe you're playing with some people, maybe you're not truly enjoying it, right? You get to a point where maybe the fun is gone a little bit, and you keep playing, and that's not that's not good. Like when somebody's not happy or something,
right?
So that's what's been good about this. I hope these guys might be laughing behind my back, but but we have a good time doing it. And just like I said, no pressure. And that's, I think, how we're able to do the album fairly quickly.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen it. There's a 4-hour Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers documentary where he talks about, I'm talking about where they just got in the van and said, "We're going to go get signed." And they did. It was like 73 or something. And they stopped at a phone booth. And in the phone booth, someone had left a crumpled up piece of paper that had all the phone numbers for all the record companies. They just were like, "Oh, I guess we just call these numbers." I mean, crazy.
It was destiny.
So unthinkable now,
Yeah, no, and that was the thing when we were out blasting around, opening for bands, playing with bands, playing in little towns in Louisiana where the kids were just starved for some sort of live music. And I really appreciated it, but it was a grind. It was just a grind. It was nonstop grind after grind after grind. And after 4 years, I was just like, it got a little tough, to keep grinding it out and doing it. But it was worth it because you would show up in some place that you've never been to before, and there'd be 250 kids packed into a strip mall, empty bay, waiting for some live music to play, And all of a sudden they would just go off and you'd play for 40 minutes, and you're just like, "Oh wow, that was well worth the drive." So I don't know how you do it now.
Yeah. If you follow a lot of the, like back when it was all labels and in I guess 80s and 90s, you can almost track a lot of bands that they go and go and go until they get to like everybody's starting to turn 30. And that's when it's like unless you're a big name, unless you've made it, that's when it's like, well, bass player really wants to settle down and get married. And then that's when it's like the momentum starts to pull, if you can make it past that, then I don't know, maybe you got something, but yeah, it's tough,
It is. And like I said, that's, we're doing it for our enjoyment, and like it's made
and now
easy.
it's like, oh fuck, you don't like it, fuck off, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is a great place to be.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's exactly how we are with our show.
Yeah.
Stace and I realized all we ever did was things for our kids. So it was like, let's do something for us. So that's what the show is. So yeah, same thing.
Well, that's kudos to you, man.
All right.
It's a great feeling.
Fun,
it really
man.
is. Yeah.
You're asking us questions about us. Tell us something about you. You have kids? What's your thing?
Yeah, our kids are all our kids are all grown and in the process of getting married and whatever else.
Yeah, I'll have the significant others or are married. So, they're all up and grown.
They
and-
wouldn't be cool with the music like your kids are. If I tried to play like some of my shit for them, they'd be like, "Yeah, this is so old."
Do you know what? You guys
Really?
inspired Mark to write a song.
It's true. Yeah.
Right
Yeah.
on.
He's working
Well,
on it.
I always am writing stuff for the show, but I had this idea that I was going to write a song about how I'm afraid of lottery tickets because I don't understand how the lottery works. Okay. And for some reason, I got the idea right after I wrote the review for your album. So it does have that kind of ain't it fun sort of despondent 3 or 4 chord vibe to it. So, I mean, it'll be up on the show in a couple weeks, but yeah, it's basically, kind of
I love it.
it's got that kind of ode to heroin vibe to it, but it's about how do I go multi-match or do I go cash for life or, what do I do? I don't understand.
You got to figure out the right score, man.
And I want to get audio of like, I don't know if you ever go in like the liquor store and you hear these women that they know the numbers and they're like, give me my
Oh, yeah, they have
13, give me my 27. And I can't let them see me recording them. So I'm working that out. That's my found sound. So
Well, here, I was going to show you. We use a little handheld Zoom recorder. You just put that right in your pocket and it's sweet.
all right, I'll look that up. Zoom recorder. Okay, I will. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, something tells me about one of his other songs, Silas Turner. We actually did like a 4-minute mockumentary, like it was a rockumentary about it. I got a feeling this is going to be another one. It was
Right
epic.
on.
We shall see. So the great thing about that is if people say, God, you suck at guitar, I'd be like, dude, it's a comedy show. Get over it. Again, it goes to your who gives
You
a
don't
fuck,
get the
right?
joke.
I'm not in Dream Theater. All right. Come on. So
Oh, shit.
Well, one of my favorite part about you guys outside of the music is the vocals, because I like how you kind of have that little apathetic whine in there. There's no anger. It's just there.
yeah.
Wow, that's his new nickname.
Apathetic wine.
Well, it's like
I like
that.
it.
Yeah, like the cheetah chrome kind of. That kind of. I'm in a back alley somewhere, aching for heroin. Yeah.
So
There's some struggle in the voice, right? There's some
Right. Exactly.
There's some I want you to help me in that tone.
Yeah, no, there was some intentional pushing, and which was great. It pushed me to a place I didn't think I could, get to at times. And then it's like, oh, okay, there's another level here. And so,
Speaking of that kind of thing, a great book. I forget the guy's name, but he was in the band The Pagans. I don't know if you know the band The Pagans.
yeah, oh yeah.
But it's called Diary of a Punk, and it is the best rock and roll book I've ever read. It's like the
I
stuff
haven't
he
read that
says.
one.
It's like, we decided to, we would always, we never paid for Cleveland Indians games. We just would break in or, he got some bad news. So he just decided he was going to be homeless for 2 weeks in New York City. And just, it's just like, he would just drop everything and just go on benders. And yeah, they spray painted the Pagans logo on the outside of the record company's building. And then when they cleaned it, it was permanently there because now you could just see from the acid wash. So
That's beautiful.
just tons of stories like the true don't give a fuck. Yeah, really.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look for that book.
So have you guys heard any does people compare you to any groups, and do you agree or disagree with those comparisons?
Or how about any really weird ones? Like, does anybody say that you guys sound like Dio or something? I mean, is there any weird shit like that?
It's funny. Motorhead's popped up in a couple. Right?
Oh, that's not too far off. I can see that.
Yeah, but I was like, man, I thought that was awesome. I was like, I'm not like, I haven't devoured hours and hours and hours of Motorhead. Yeah, I have Motorhead in my collection. I've seen Motorhead, but I'm not like a Motorhead freak. I don't know if anybody is, but that was cool. I haven't had anything. It's like, whatever. I mean, sometimes it's at least they're listening. Probably my favorite one was somebody said they had a hard time comparing it to anything. I think it said it, and they stretched, like said, maybe the Super Suckers if we had to, but it's like a really hard time describing. So I thought that was cool.
That's cool.
I loved what you said about the you know, kind of some of the New York influences and that. I was like, okay, I like, you know,
Yeah.
when I heard fucking Voidoids, I was like, man,
Yeah.
that's, you
I
know,
like that. Yeah.
No, you know, it's
love
weird
it.
because we have so much background, you know, music in our background, you know, growing up. And I think that's the thing that really kind of brings us together is just the general love of music. So for me, there's very few things that I listen to that I don't like, which is weird because I grew up, my parents were very conservative, and I grew up in kind of sneaking in classic rock, Zeppelin, Sabbath, Judas Priest, that type of stuff.
After midnight.
Ramones was like a big push for me. Clash, I'm a huge Clash fan, and people will diss me for that. But
Nope,
I love
that's one thing
Clash.
Jerry and I bond on that.
Yeah.
big time.
And then all of a sudden, like Dead Kennedys, right?
Yeah.
Early 80s, X, Under the Big Black Sun,
Mhm.
Wild Gift, that kind of stuff. That's when my brain started spinning, and I was just like, okay, there's
Oh, yeah.
so much more out there.
Yeah, I
So much
bought
more out
plastic surgery disasters on vinyl, and I
Oh,
brought it home,
yeah.
and I was like, it was like I had porn. Like I was reading the lyrics, and I was like, I didn't want my
Yes.
parents to know.
Right.
There was some pamphlet in there about graffiti, about how to
Yeah.
avoid the cops and stuff, and I was like, I
Yeah.
can't let my parents find this record.
Contraband.
Crucifix. You listen to
Right,
Crucifix?
Wisconsin.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
fucking killing cops and whatever.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's crazy stuff where it's
Crazy,
like, as
yeah.
a great
Mhm.
stuff. It was just
Mhm.
blew my. But
Felt
at the same
awesome to
time,
have that shit.
psychedelic furs, early psychedelic furs. I mean, I love that shit. So it
Oh,
was
yeah.
all that stuff, and it's just Old Cure. We have some covers that we
we
play.
played it. Yeah, we played a Cure song for a couple shows.
Primary.
Cool. Yeah,
The old
yeah.
primary.
People are like,
just
what the
space
fuck?
drumming, yeah.
What the fuck is
Yep.
that?
Our drummer was really into Stuart Copeland, so I used to fuck with him. I used to be like, I listened to The Clash, it was great. And then what's the other band, the Shitty Clash? The Police, that's right. Yeah. And he'd be like, fuck off more. Yeah, I always called the Police the Shitty Clash.
Oh, I love it.
Gun Club. So John and I share a love for Gun Club. I don't, if you don't have any
Oh,
Gun
yeah.
Club stuff, pick up
It's
early
like
Gun
it's
Club
like a
stuff.
punk blues. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mother
yeah,
Juno is my
definitely.
record.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'd say.
When
Definitely,
so
I
that's
have my roots.
Yeah.
So we play a game. Normally, if it's one person, they get 5 questions. But since there's 3 of you, maybe we'll do 2 apiece. So I have 100 questions in front of me. So each of you are going to pick 2 numbers, and then you'll answer those questions.
2 numbers between 1 and 100.
Okay, I pick 5 and 4.
5 and 4. Do we just go?
Yeah, let's go.
5. Have you ever tripped and fallen in front of a crowd?
Yes. In a horrible way, where I actually
do
split my
tell.
nose open and bled out, like
Oh,
bled
geez.
for like,
Oh, geez.
where to the point where I had to take like gaffer's tape and pull it around my nose so that my nose would stop bleeding.
That's a very rock and roll story, though. I like it.
It's true. It was horrible.
4. What is your favorite type of food?
Good Lord. Mexican.
Can't go wrong with
Mexican. It's Mexican. It's Mexican. Sorry.
I was reading an interview
We have a lot of good Mexican here. We have a lot of really good
in
Mexican.
Omaha,
I just
Nebraska.
bet
Well,
you-
see, I would have never
Yeah.
expected. That's
No,
wild.
yeah, and nobody knows that, but and I just spent 2 weeks in Mexico City, and you could not get Mexican food there. I'm like, what the fuck? It was Italian and whatever. I'm like, but we have a lot of really good Mexican food here, so that's my answer, Mexican.
I remember I saw this interview with, I think it was the guy from Buck Cherry or something. He's like super rail skinny, or it might have been Duff McKagan or something. And they were like, "You're over 40 and you're so skinny and good shape. What's your secret?" And he goes, "I don't know. I just had 3 slices of pizza." That was, that did not answer the question at all. But
No, I like it though. Good answer. I don't give
All
a
right.
shit.
Next victim.
Chris.
About 33 and 77.
Okay.
33. Did you
Wow.
ever eat something that was past the expiration date?
No more.
Oh, fuck
Oh,
yeah. On
sure.
purpose or an accident?
Either.
Either.
Yes to both. Yes to both.
I
Today
think
or
we've all been
yesterday?
there.
Looking forward to this podcast.
I had this horrible, I was in college, right? And I'm running through the hallways and I hadn't had time to eat breakfast and I bought powdered donuts out of a vending machine. And I'm running to class, throwing them in my face, and they tasted weird. And you couldn't see because of the powdered sugar, but they were completely moldy.
Green.
Green.
Ugh.
Can't eat powdered donuts to this day. Can't do it.
Donuts.
There's no way.
Those are the donuts, right? DONETTES. Yeah.
Yeah, they fill that machine every other April. Yeah. So
Yeah.
God.
77. Do you have any nicknames?
I do have a nickname. I've got quite a few of them. But for some reason, I don't even know how I'm going to say this because I don't even really don't like it. that
Now you
much.
have to say it.
Now you have
My girlfriend, my name is Chris, but my girlfriend calls me Chip. I don't know
She
why.
calls him Chip all the
She calls me
time.
Chip. I'll be in a different room. I'll hear this Chip. You know, got her mom calling me Chip. Other people sometimes call me Chip. I'm like, oh fuck. Well, whatever, you know. So yes, I do Chip.
that's great.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
No, we don't.
We get these notifications on TikTok when people like our videos, and some of the names it'll be like, Dirty Jim 669 liked your video, and I'm like, I was trying to get Dirty Jim's business for years. This is the greatest news. You're a bitch, yo, liked your video. Great, finally. I've been banging on her door for years, you know.
That's funny.
All right. Next victim.
John's turn.
John.
All right. 3 and 99.
All right. 3. If you were bionic, what parts would be replaced?
Oh
Oh,
man.
careful
Okay,
there.
let me think
Careful.
about that. If I was
I wish we were
bionic.
drunk right now.
Oh my God, that's a good one. She gave me the good one. I don't think a bionic penis. I don't think everyone goes there, but no.
You don't need that. You're good.
You don't want to hurt people.
Man, the bionic.
Right
I'm gonna have to say bionic foot so I can kick some ass.
I like
Yeah.
it. That's a good answer. I like it.
Most guitar players would say a bionic and
Strumming arm. Yeah, strumming.
I like the way I play. I don't need anything to fuck it up. So
All right. 99. How would your parents describe your personality?
man, I
to
got
his
some
face or to
issues.
others.
My
To others.
parents, they would say they think I'm probably a little off kilter, but I'm very good. I love my parents. They love me, so they wouldn't probably say anything too bad about me. They'd say I'm a good, caring person, but a little bit off kilter, and he does his own thing all the time that sometimes they just don't understand, but won't try to totally understand that. Whether
I
it's
used to tell
my
my parents-
political view.
I used to tell my parents, your generation was good at one thing, and it was getting our generation to move out.
Yeah, yeah. I was out definitely.
I was
early,
out by
and-
18. 18 in one day. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's funny, like, now, because my parents are, thank goodness they're both still alive, but older now, and just, it's like, man, it's kind of turned. Got to make sure I'm checking in on them. So I try to do that. So they'd say I'm a good kid.
Anyway.
So besides Bad Bad Men, can you recommend a few other Omaha bands we must check
I
out?
know you started too early on. Yeah.
Cat Piss for one. I'm
Bib.
interested.
BIB Bib.
Uh-huh.
They
Incredible.
are incredible. They're
Yeah.
a hardcore band that is so good.
Yeah, Bib's definitely good.
Bib. They're on SoundCloud and
We get some
Bandcamp.
national recognition quite a bit.
Yeah.
Pagan Athletes, John's kids band, which is great.
That's a great
Yeah,
name,
they're
by the
really-
way.
Yeah.
That's a
Taking
good
athlete.
name.
We said Nowhere earlier.
My nephew's band, Nowhere.
You can look them up. I think it'll be Nowhere, Noise, usually where they're. Cat Piss is another good band.
Those Far Out Arrows.
Yeah, those Far Out Arrows, a great band.
Great, kind of in the same kind of vein, but a little more hippie than us, a little more jammy than us.
Yeah.
We're gonna start getting YouTube comments where they'll say, "What, another Nebraska band, you two? What's wrong with you?" Sorry,
There's lots.
Omaha's full of really good bands.
Yeah.
Full of good bands.
Let's see who else out of Omaha.
There's Wagon Blasters on Speed. You got to check them out. The other record, there's other bands on Speed Records. David Nance is from here. I don't know if you know David Nance. Check him out.
Okay.
Who is the owner of Ozzy?
John. That's John's cat. That's John's cat. He's a sweetie. He's a
badass, actually.
Yeah, he's sweet and a badass at the same time.
I love his posing pictures.
That's cool.
Is that where is he also the mascot for Cat Piss?
He showed up in some cat piss posts.
He has. Well, actually, I did the Cat Piss album release poster, and I used Ozzy for it, and it's a pretty. I wish I had a copy. It's a pretty cool blow up of his face that's posterized and pretty cool.
That's funny. After the Grammys, people I work with were like, "Mark, did you watch the Grammys?" And I was, "No, I don't watch it." Ozzy won like 3 awards, and I was like, "Fuck! Now he's never gonna stop. He needs to stop."
Same with John's
Don't
cat.
encourage him, you know.
Yeah,
exactly.
Same with John's cat.
Yeah.
We're like, don't encourage Oz.
No shit.
He's not looking very good these days. Ozzy's looking rough.
So, if you guys could create like a fantasy tour lineup for yourself, like to go on this tour with, no, holds barred, no financial restraints. Could you think of 3 other bands who you would like to play with? It can be current bands or bands
Even
from the
if
past.
they're dead on toilets, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
This is your dream.
Yeah.
Oh God, that is so tough. That's gonna take me like a week to think of.
Well, if I had to say
now, if we could limit it to current bands, Idols would be one of them because I fucking love Idols.
Okay.
But I can't think of 2 others right now. That is gonna be a tough one. John might be able to think of one. X, maybe.
Yeah,
X.
I don't know. I mean, if you're talking
Any band.
current, or anybody that's been around all the time, Richard Held and the Voidoids would have been somebody I would have loved to do a show with.
X is still around, right? X scene's still
X,
alive.
X is still around, yeah. But
Billy,
yeah,
he's still alive. Yeah.
I'd love to go to Australia and go play, back in the day, go back in time and play at the Saints or something like that.
Yeah.
That's where I would probably.
I like Eternally Yours better than the first one. That's my album.
Yeah, I think I love them both. I can't,
We played a Saints cover and nobody knew who it was. So we nixed that.
And then Radio Birdman too. Radio Birdman.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I love all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Australia is great. I'm huge on Australian rock right now. There's really some cool things going on there right now.
I'm cool with Australian bands as long as they fly here, because I don't sit on a fucking airplane for 24 hours. I would kill someone if I was in an airplane.
It's hard doing the time zone with Australia because it's tomorrow there, and it fucks with your mind.
People, I'm flying to Australia. I'm like, why the fuck are you flying to Australia? Nobody flies to Australia.
I know. I'm doing some record trade with somebody there, and the hours they respond to mine, I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah.
Right, like he responded before you asked because it's tomorrow.
That's really confused me. He knew what I was going to ask me.
Exactly. Yeah, it's free time.
We were talking about setting up an interview with a band, and Mark's like, okay, so they're 16 hours ahead. I'm like, my God, we barely got Dublin right. And then Nebraska has 2 time zones. I'm like, I'm so confused.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, the US is fine. The US is fine. Like interviewing US bands is so great because you guys get the jokes and stuff. Like when you talk to these bands from Finland and stuff, being funny is a lot harder. They just don't get the jokes.
Sorry. I never talk, Chris. Chris, talk about your tour, your dream tour.
My dream tour? I was just trying to think of, I don't know. That's a very hard question for me. I don't know. I honestly couldn't answer it right now. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a lot of brain power.
Yeah,
for me.
I'd have to sit down and look at fucking.
Who's your favorite drummer of all time?
Of Well,
I'm gonna put him on the spot.
John Bottom.
Okay. So there, he wants to play the Zeppelin.
Zeppelin. Do a show with Zeppelin. Yeah, I don't know.
They said any?
Yeah,
it's pretty
any.
minor.
Yeah.
This is your baby.
That's like asking me, where's a good place to eat at like 2 a.m. when there's 500 of them, but I can't ever think of one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hate that.
No, I understand. Yeah, it's a tough one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd have to put you guys on tour with Night Fever and the Hip Priests. What do you think?
I like it.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
let's get that together.
Night Fever in the hip. Who?
The Hip Priests. They're from the
I
UK.
don't-
Night Fever's
Yes.
from
Yes.
Denmark,
Yes.
and the Hip Priests
I don't know
are
Night
from.
Fever. No. All right.
Really good.
I will look that up.
Yeah.
Well, let's
Hint:
book it.
we've interviewed both.
Yes, we have. Yeah.
Nice.
Did you guys said you were in Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you familiar with Meat Jack
Yeah.
from Baltimore? 80s band, low 90s band, I should say.
Yeah. What? I liked them. I liked another good one was Lungfish. I don't know if you know them. They were Baltimore.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
no longer.
I would just
So
walk
like
into a
Meat
bar and they would be playing, and I'd be like, "Cool, Lungfish." Yeah. So that was nice.
Right on.
But there's not a lot
Yeah.
of great bands from Baltimore. There's just not. I mean, so
Who's the flyer artist from Baltimore? Was there no, that was Cleveland. Is there a flyer artist from Baltimore?
I don't know.
I thought it was Cleveland, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Derek Hess or something.
we had like
Yeah.
Reptilian Records. We had
Yeah,
that
Reptilian.
was the fuck was that band? They had like Pulling Teeth and Dactyl and
And
I don't know.
Kicks. We always had Kicks.
well, yeah, but that's
Yeah.
that's more hard rock.
Kicks.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Kicks.
Always Kicks. Yep. Yeah.
We had Warrant.
I
Warrant.
swear,
was
I think I just saw a Kicks record.
Cherry
recently.
Pie by Warrant was our kind of regional flavor.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember I used to have to work in a warehouse, and God, you couldn't get away from it. They're playing Cherry Pie like 9 times a day. I wanted to kill them.
Sweet cherry pie.
It was terrible.
Even Janie Lane hated that song.
Mhm.
He did. He hated being known for being the cherry pie guy.
Then he tells a story about he went to the record company for the next album, and they had that big Cherry Pie poster. It had been replaced with the Alice in Chains poster, and he was like, "Oh, this isn't." good."
Yeah.
Sign of the times.
Yeah,
The guy was like, "Who are you again?" Yeah.
yeah, right.
Yeah. I have
Yeah.
crazy Alice in Chains stories that I won't bore you with, but
Well,
we played
Cherry
with them
Pie
and-
could not. Cherry Pie was not sustainable. All that music sounded the same.
You know, and grunt
really
was
rough.
the end of that.
It
All
was
that.
really rough to sit through
Yeah,
hours and hours of
right.
that. Yeah.
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 So what's coming up next for you guys? You got some shows, maybe touring Baltimore. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
We've got a show
one
coming up later
show.
this week in Lincoln, and then we're going to take a little time off and work on some new music. We've got some new stuff we've been working on. We're going to be on a compilation record that's coming out, so we're going to record a song for that, and then kind of see where we're at after the couple winter months.
Yeah, it seems like we're in the age of the Spotify algorithm. So you have to record an album, and then you have to record like 5 more songs that you just feed the algorithm every couple of months. That's what people
Oh,
seem
man.
to do nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
All about the algorithm. Yeah.
Yeah, we've just been working on stuff to hone the live set down to where we're comfortable, and then working on new stuff because we've been playing the live set for a little bit now, and it's fun to get some new stuff thrown in there because people are just like, oh,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
because it's the same kind of tone, but a little bit different direction, a little more aggressive, a little more.
Do you do any covers? Like, do you throw covers in? What kind of covers do you throw
we
in?
throw covers
That's-
in when we can.
The first cover we ever did, we did a Joy Division song.
Okay.
So we've done covers that kind of don't match what you would think for us.
Right.
Uh,
Right. No,
like
that's
we did a
That's
Cure
great.
song, Primary by the Cure.
Okay. Yeah.
The Joy Division song was No Love Lost. So just, and then we were fucking around with something actually the last couple of days here. So like a Buzzcock song, I don't know, so
That's great. Yeah.
yeah, we have fun. We trying to think what else. We've probably done 1 or 2 others. So yeah.
Can't even think what they are.
Yeah,
Keep us on our
Buzzcocks are
toes.
they're still going strong. They have Diggle singing now, and he actually is pretty good. I mean,
Yeah, I've seen it's tough for me to envision them without Pete Shelley, but
I know, but
I mean, good
I
for
said the
them.
same thing. But the new album has Diggle singing the guitarist, and it's really good.
Yeah.
It sounds like the
Okay.
Buzzcut. So
I'll listen to it. I'll listen to
yeah,
it.
it's
Yeah.
pretty good. It came out
One of- one of-
like last
that's-
year, I think. Yeah.
That would be my third band, so it'd be it'd be like
Buzzcocks.
Oh yeah.
Now we got it.
There you
Yeah,
go.
that's who- yeah.
Buzzcocks.
So-
Yeah.
John
Richard
Price.
Hell, the Saints, and frickin' the Buzzcocks, man. That would
Buzzcocks.
be a
That's
fun.
great.
That would be a fun tour
Oh my God.
Yeah.
in their heydays.
Oh, yeah, definitely in their heydays.
We always call it before, a wild night. Mark and I always look at each other and go, see you in the emergency room. So that would be one of those kind of tours.
That'll be one of those. Like we're like Cam FDM is coming in March, and that's going to be a see you in the emergency room night. I just already know. Oh well, this was great. I'm all jazzed about Omaha now.
Yeah.
No wonder Peyton Manning used to always yell Omaha. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
That's why.
Omaha.
Yeah.
Omaha.
That's why. Yeah.
That's why, man.
Yeah.
I know
He
now.
was, he was in the old punk rock scene
Yeah.
back here. That's why.
I must have been. Yeah.
Yeah, the scene here is good. It's like any place. It's lots of but it seems like it's kind of thriving right now, and it's kind of fun.
Well, here's a question for you guys, because you guys are, it sounds like you guys are like kind of our age. So you ever like maybe your kids' bands or the bands that are friends of your kids' bands, when they're describing another band and they're throwing out these crazy names that you don't know, you've never heard of any of it, you're like, they sound like the Sideways Sidewalks or whatever. And you're like, dude, they're playing a Ramones cover. What the fuck? Do you ever have that where you're like, it's so obvious what they sound like, but these kids don't know that they don't go back that
Yeah,
far.
Right.
So they're throwing
Yeah,
out
but
these crazy,
They
they
don't have
sound
the-
like Ethel and the Squids, and you're like, who the hell's that? They sound like the Dead Boys. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. My daughter did that to me. I love this band as everything unfolds. And she says, oh, yeah, they sound like Evanescence. No, they do not.
Well,
Not
that's
one
just-
little bit. But I would never say that. I was
That's
just like,
just
oh,
wrong.
okay. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Mm.
Yeah, all our kids are
It's
into
her-
all that.
It's her reference point. It's the reference
Yeah,
point.
they don't have the library.
They don't go
to
back
have
as
a
far.
point. Yeah.
Did people even like have guitars in the 1970s? Did that even exist? Were there cars back then?
Yeah. It's the cell phone conversation, right? It's like, oh shit.
Yeah,
We didn't have
back
cell phones.
before freaking cell phones.
They didn't
I used to
exist.
know,
No.
like, I used to have 8 tracks, and I knew like because you had on one side of the 8 track, I could cue up the one side of the 8 track so that I could just flip it, and the Barry White song would start up on the other side of the 8 track, and I'd be like, "Hey, baby," There's no remembering that.
I had a Devo 8-track that was oh god, what was it? Are We Not Men? Devo.
Oh, I
8-track.
love that record. Yeah. Well,
Oh,
Devo.
it's a great
Yeah.
record, right? Yeah,
Yeah, man.
we're all Devo fans, dude. We're actually writing a song that kind of sounds like Devo right now, and it was like, that's a total Devo song. So it's like, yes. But yeah, 8 tracks. But my kids are now into vinyl. I've gotten them all turntables and decent speaker setups and decent amp setups, and they're just like, they're sending me shit. Sweeping Promises, bands like
Oh, they're
this. that
good.
Yeah.
I-
They're really good.
which is a great fucking record, right? And I'm just
Yeah,
like,
me too.
oh, thanks for sending that to me. That's my Christmas, is my kids send me records. Oh, here's a band. Here's my friend's band. Here's a band that my partner was in, and all this stuff. So it's fun. Music is just fun. So you just can't be burdened by music. You can't be burdened by playing in a band, and you just have to enjoy music because it's a gift. It's a great gift.
You're gonna play that first press copy of Nevermind the Bullocks on a $30 Walmart turntable. No, you're not.
Yeah,
You're
no,
not.
I've had those
That's
conversations
wrong.
with them. Yeah. Salad days. You're
The
not playing my
turntable
salad
cannot
days
cost
single.
less than the record. I mean, come on.
You're not playing fucking salad days single.
Well, now they got the little,
shitty
the
little
portable, the
turntable.
Soundburger. You can get the Soundburger now.
Yeah, the Soundburger.
Have you seen the Soundburger?
Yeah, Audio Technica put
Yeah.
that back out. The Soundburger. I was like, no, you cannot play that on your shitty turntable. You're not.
But it's Bluetooth, Dad. Come on. I don't care.
Nope.
You're not putting
Nope.
it on there.
Here's how it works.
All right.
Well, on our last episode, we put up, we both did our list for our top 10 of 2023.
Yeah.
And you were on Mark's.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. A sleeper. You were like, I think you were number 3. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
And we
you,
go
man.
through a lot of music,
Appreciate that.
a lot of music. Yeah. So great record.
That's
So just
awesome
keep
to
doing
hear.
what you're doing. It's great. Yeah.
Well, we can't help it, right?
Yeah.
It just keeps
Well, the not
coming
giving
out.
a fuck part is so important. I mean, it really is.
It
You know,
is.
so.
There's, like I said, it's for ourselves, and it's when people hearing you that you like it, man, that makes me very happy.
Do you look
Totally
back on
sucks,
like
too.
some of the stuff that you worried about when you were in the bands in the 80s and 90s and think it was silly? Does that ever happen where you're like, oh my God, the way my hair looked didn't matter at all? Like, do you ever have like that kind of those kind of thoughts? Or
Yeah, and you think about shows with other bands, and that the dynamic was always, somewhat intense because it was sometimes very competitive at times. Sometimes depending. I mean, you had your good friends, and now it's like I don't give a shit. You know what? And especially sometimes when we played younger bands, and you see their little. I'm just like, oh my God, you're gonna, you're freaking out over something so
Yeah.
stupid, or
this went exactly how I thought it was going to go. I thought these guys are our age. We're just going to geek out on music for an hour.
we're just
so that's
goofballs,
fine.
yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
Falling on deaf ears.
Okay, Deaf Ears 1 is Health. The album is Rat Wars. The LA-based noise trio known as Health have effectively been shredding eardrums for the better part of 2 decades at this point. Rat Wars is the band's 7th bona fide album, not counting the slew of remix albums, splits, singles, and the odd video game soundtrack here and there. Now more than ever, Health's sound is colossal, with wave after wave of industrial percussion bounding from all sides, grinding metallic guitars, brooding icicle drop synth segues, and all of it wrapped in lyrics dark enough to make The Cure's Pornography sound like a snappy breakfast cereal ad. The team of B.J. Miller on drums, Jake Duzick on guitar and vocals, and bassist John Famigletti are very effective at communicating their moods quickly. Most of these tracks strike hard in the 2 to 3 minute range, whether they are running your ass over with hard-charging rave metal or wallowing in melancholy disgust. There's very little fat to be trimmed from this record.
When Health is so inclined, their up-tempo fare challenges the gnarliest of KM FDM fare. Cuts like Children of Sorrow and DSMV proves that Duziak has decoded some of the crushing riff tones concocted by Gunter Schultz on those early records. But the light and shade on the record makes it special, with slower melancholy fare like Unloved, riding a Depeche Mode sort of frown rock, and lyrics like, "It's not my fault that you were unloved as a child."
It sounds like something Mary would say. It's not my fault that you were unloved as a child. Anyway.
Duziak's mopey yet sexy vocal approach is one of the band's most distinctive traits, best evidence in the collaboration Hateful with legendary French dark synth artist Sierra. The rave-ready pulse of Sicko is another album highlight. The track penned with none other than Justin Broderick of Godflesh. These 12 songs are as salacious as they are grim. Rat Wars is the perfect soundtrack for a night out at a rave or a night in with razor blades in the bathtub.
Come on. Oh, let's play a song. This is Children of Sorrow.
Deaf Ears 2. This is Gottlieb with I Am This Place. California might not be the first place that jumps to mind when you think of punk rock, but the Golden State has given us some killers, including
See what you did there?
Black Flag, Circle Jerks, and Bad Religion. Now Los Angeles gives us Gottlieb, a band that you just may have to add in Sharpie to your punk rock jeans. This energized and infuriated four-piece returned with their second EP, I Am This Place. These 5 tracks are obviously rooted in old-school punk rock, but they not only sprinkle in other rock genres, but each track has its own flavor, a veritable snack pack variety that dash, dance, and assault your senses in just over 12 minutes.
Venetian Hotel slams right into business with the drums of Nick Sriracha thundering. before settling into a most satisfying groove. The guitar riffs of Paul Slaughter, what a great rock name. Paul Slaughter, that's awesome. Anyway, the guitar riffs are jangly, echoey, and melodic in a style a la Greg Sage early Wipers. Andrew Pescara's vocal delivery is gruff and rage-filled with just a hint of desperation. The punk topics are modernized, but still confront classic human downfalls in this track. In this track, it's all about exposing the first world problem of the fakeness of materialism. It all leads back to shopping centers and touchscreen skies. I'm terrified that we're in denial, but we love the lie.
Billy Shitkick is the most straight-up slice of punk, with rolling drums tight with the bass work of Dylan Marquez that set the rollicking backdrop. Gone is the jangly guitar here, replaced by a crunchy, thick riff instead. The topic here is racism, again, updated to include rants about Facebook moderators and how Billy Shitkick is going to ban CRT, even though he doesn't know what that means. And I didn't know what it meant either, and I had to look it up. But it stands for the controversial school of thought that social and political laws and media are shaped by social conceptions of race and ethnicity. As Pescara proclaims in a catchy melody, it's a neo-fash sing-along. The breakdown is edgy, with drums rolling, vocals chaotically mixed with spoken samples before it all just stops on a dime.
I told Billy Shitkick to meet us at the bar. What? Just when you think you have this band figured out, Paper Tiger mixes things up, starting with a downright funky riff that would make Fred Schneider jealous. The gang chorus comes in wailing about the dichotomy of styrofoam plates with the American flag, I'm debased, that brings to mind Offspring-style laments.
This is first quality drop the mic punk rock, modernized, that bursts in like an uninvited party guest, but quickly becomes a favorite with their brash style and their many-sided takes. They weave in more hooks than a shower curtain, compelling the listener to press play one more time.
Okay, so this is Gottlieb with Moon Song.
Deaf Ears 3 is Poppy with Zig. It has only been about 6 years since Mariah Rose Pereira, the cyber Barbie entity known as Poppy, burst onto the music scene. But she has certainly kept herself busy between her popular YouTube channel, crammed with skits, songs, and her rehearsals, her TV and film appearances, world tours, and now her full-length studio album. She has even written 3 books since 2017. Musically, she's offered up everything from future pop to experimental electronic to ripping industrial metal and all points in between. Her latest collection reels in the screaming guitars in favor of a very hooey, bruised yet naughty electric pop songs. Of course, I have questions, like why is she tied to a sword on the album cover? Maybe she identifies as a cocktail olive? But I guess some mysteries are best left unsolved.
What it becomes is a dark alt-pop nugget, complete with aching violins and agonized, sultry vocals from Poppy, distancing herself from a toxic partners and situations with some downright creepy vocal effects a la Trent Reznor. Hard pits heavy guitars and harsh screams against bubbly croons. On the other end of the spectrum is a smart and sexy church outfit, a breathy, rave-friendly ode to favorite outfit, throbbing with hooks. Motorbike similarly explores pure pop with a vengeance. The girl on a motorbike never checks her rear view. But the latest single, Knockoff, is the album's definite hotspot, a dizzying beat and salacious chorus that asks the question, how are you going to prove to me that you are the real thing? With a vibe that would not sound out of place on a Lady Gaga record. Overall, a very smooth, smart pop record that swirls in several other genres to great effect. I wonder if the next album will be called Zag, or maybe Ziggler. Anyway, this is Knockoff. That's a good one. Very funny. Lots of shenanigans. Yeah.
So for rock and roll for this year,
Talked about trying to pack the car for vacation.
we talked about getting lost in department stores, maybe on
On
purpose
purpose.
and maybe not.
We talked about people who share email addresses. This is really Billy Bob. I'm sorry. It's not Tom.
They're Hicks, Rita.
They're Hicks Readham. And last but not least, we talked a little bit about the lottery and why it's so confusing.
And then fear that it launched a song.
That snippet that over the guitar solo where the lady's talking about when we do scratch offs, we don't think about the odds. That's from Dr. Phil. This woman was being interviewed on Dr. Phil because she'd spent like $40,000 on scratch offs, and she's just totally addicted to it. I mean, it's on YouTube. Check it out. Yeah.
This has been the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast. Special thanks to the Bad Bad Men for appearing on the show. Snaggletooth theme courtesy of Jens Kemgren of the Firebombs. Deaf Ears theme by Tim Green of the Fucking Champs. Season 3 artwork courtesy of Casey Angel. You can find him on Instagram, Casey Angel Art. So in addition to checking out Messed Up by Bad Bad Men, you also need to run over and check out our Deaf Ears bands, Health, Poppy, and Gottlieb. All content 2023, the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.
Want to see something that'll destroy your holiday cheer? Saying I'm missing a foot.
I think a cat ate it.
This is the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.